Hey, it is 11 o'clock and I want to make sure I'm on time today. We have Stephanie Hancock. I see Councilmember Hancock on, so I think we have a quorum. Councilmember Jurinsky probably will not be joining us today. So Councilmember Hancock, we have no consent items. Do you approve the minutes from August 15th, 2025? Okay, I
do.
approve them as well. So we got Lori. Lori, you're first. We're going to give the legislative update, federal legislative update.
Sounds good. So just a few minutes ago, the House passed a continuing resolution with all Republicans voting for it except for two, and then one Democrat voted for it as well, to keep the federal government running until November 21st. So that would be the Friday before Thanksgiving. They also included additional funding, security funding for both Congress, the Supreme Court, and the executive branch in it. It's now going to on the Senate side. And the Senate right now is going to do two CRs because nothing makes sense right now. They're going to vote on the House passed CR. As of right now, I don't think it's going to get much Democratic support. And they do need Democratic support because with just a simple majority of 53 votes, 53 members on the Republican side, as you know, is required to have 60 votes. So I do need a lot of Democratic support. And right now, only one senator from the Democratic side, Senator Fetterman, has expressed interest in voting for it. So that will not pass. They're also going to vote on a Democratic CR that only will get Democratic support, and that will provide funding through the end of October 31st. It also would make it more difficult for Congress and administration to rescind appropriated funds. As you recall, the administration rescinded about $5 billion of appropriated funds from last year for USAID. And then third, it includes a permanent extension of the COVID Obamacare subsidies. Right now, they expire December 31st. The Democrats are really concerned it's not going to get extended. So they want some kind of assurance they are going to get extended as part of this current CR. Both of these are going to fail. House and Senate were supposed to be in recess next week for Rosh Hashanah. However, the Senate now is saying they're going to bring back everyone on Thursday, hopefully come to a compromise. Republicans will give a little bit on Obamacare, and they'll fund the government until November 21st. So that's what's looking like right now. I don't see a government shutdown at this point. That's would be really difficult to do over the Thanksgiving break. But we will see, and I'll keep y'all posted on what happens there. But lots of fun times here. Everything seems to be very challenging. On the good news, Congress has been working on the surface transportation authorization. I bring that up, City Council member, because of your role in the Transportation Committee at NLC. In talking with staff in both the House and Senate, the House Transportation Infrastructure Committee would like to have a draft and it marked up in November. Then they'd like to have it on the floor either the end of the month of November or early December and have it done before the end of the year. On the Senate side, they're moving a little bit more slower, but talking to Senate Environment Public Works, who oversees the highway title, the majority of the bill, they would like to mark up that title in November as well. And they oversee most of the formula funds that y'all count on from DRCOG, as well as many of the grant programs you depend on, such as RAISE. Senate Banking oversees transit, which I know RTD has been closely tracking. They're going to open up a portal soon for members' priorities for that title. And they said they're going to start drafting within the next month or so. Senate Commerce oversees rail, and they have already opened up their portal for members, and they have not started drafting or unclear when they're going to do what their timeline is. But all this to say the bill expires next year, October 31st. So I don't see anything actually getting done this year except for some drafts to see the direction. But on the House side, they're very interested in getting something done soon because the current chairman, his term as chairman expires next year. So he wants to get something done, of course, when it's under his control. Lastly, I met with DOT earlier this week, and there are a few grants coming up. There's the Build Grant, and as you recall, y'all applied for that earlier this year. You weren't selected, but you made it to the Secretary's desk. Congratulations, because that does not happen to many projects. It's a very selective process, so it's amazing. And talking to Liz, y'all got a great debrief from DOT on how to improve the application. So that NOFO should be coming out in November. and that will be $1.5 billion. There's 2 rail grants coming out, railroad grade crossing elimination. That would be around $500 million from FRA, Federal Railroad Administration. And then lastly, there's a program called CRISI, which is also for rail grade separation and rail tracks coming out under FRA as well. So any questions?
Yeah, and then I'll hand it over to Councilmember Hancock for questions. Lori, I know that National League of Cities has been really having some input on the surface grant. Oh, that's been really good, some impacts, and I've seen some drafts of that as well.
Yes.
In terms of the kind of infrastructure, because I know you brought more transportation, is there going to be something, or maybe that's within the build, you know, for bridges and things like that, repair of those type of things? Is that part of the build? Or is that
That
a
is
separate?
eligible under build, but there is
Okay.
another bridge grant program. You're correct. And I'm
Okay.
not sure when that last notice of funding opportunity is coming out. And in
Okay.
talking to the Republican staff in the Senate, that is a top priority, and they would like to continue that grant
Yeah.
program as well as the
Okay.
formula program that goes to CDOT.
Okay, yeah, I really hope that the city applies for any grants with the bridges, because we want to make sure that the bridges that we have in our city are in good shape. You know, they're, you know, so we can maintain those things because they're very important. And, you know, I just hope that we are applying or looking into that, that particular grant as well. So Councilmember Hancock, do you have any questions for Lori?
I just have one, thank you, Chair. I just have one question, Lori, about the grant you said that made it to the desk, but we didn't get selected. Were they very specific on the things that they were concerned about the reason why we didn't get that grant?
I'm going to defer to Liz since she was part of that meeting with
Liz, can you
DOT.
give us a couple, I mean, you can probably give us a formal, but can you give us a couple reasons of why we didn't get the grant?
Yes, absolutely. So our application was very highly rated, but there were 2 improvements that they would like to see moving forward. The first one discussed, they wanted us to identify for our budget any kind of contingency plan for funding. We had put in for a CDS request, and we didn't specify if we didn't get the CDS request, how we would compensate for that funding. So that was kind of one of the things for that. And then they would like us to increase our narrative about the state of repair that was in the application. So those are the only 2 areas. But once we clear that up, we should have no problem.
So when will we be able to apply again?
In
We would
talking
have to
with
wait for the next-
USDOT,
Yeah.
November, they're saying the next notice of funding opportunity would come out.
This November?
This November, yes.
Mhm.
Yes,
Oh,
in
so
2
we can
months.
take another run at it and just
Yes.
beef up those 2 areas, and
Mhm.
since it made it to the
Fingers
desk,
crossed.
we might have a really high likelihood of securing this grant on the next go round. You
That's
think?
correct.
I hope
Yes.
so.
Okay. And I remember back in, may I have another question, Chair? Okay, I had when we went in April, we talked about the fire trucks and those things that were pending. Do we have any updates on those at this time?
So that is a congressionally directed spending request. So that is part of this appropriations bill that I was just discussing. They haven't come to an agreement on appropriations in the House and Senate. So that's the reason why they need to pass a continuing resolution to keep the government funding, but they still negotiate. The House overall level of appropriations is a lot lower than the Senate side. So they need to come to some kind of agreement on how to rectify that.
So we're just tangled up in there until those 2 get into balance then.
Right.
And so
Both
there's
of those bills.
probably,
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
no, I was just thinking there's a lot of horse trading going on behind the
Right.
scenes to make
Right.
that happen. And in the
Exactly.
meantime, we're kind of hanging in the balance is
Exactly.
what I'm hearing you say. You're saying
Yes.
right now.
Yes.
Okay. Well, thank you so much, Lori. Thanks, Liz. Appreciate you.
Yeah, thank you so much, Lori, for the update. I really do appreciate it. It looks like it's going to be pretty interesting 2026 as well. So, so thank you so much. With that being said, have a great trip. See you soon. We do have a bill position from the federal level, legislative level, that Liz wants to present and see if the committee will be approving that or not. So go ahead, Liz.
Thank you so much, council member. So the first bill is a House Resolution 4921, the PUP Act, PUPP. This is put forward by Congressman Crow. And what this bill is, it essentially authorizes the Secretary of Agriculture working with the Secretary of HUD to make grants eligible for entities that provide interim and permanent housing that accommodates unhoused, homeless families, and people who have pets. So very specifically, it would allow, the grant is to have kind of pet access and pet services in the shelter. So this staff would like to support this bill because this is in line with our priority of getting funding for the Navigation Center. Mostly because we will be offering pet services at the Navigation Center, and this grant opportunity could allow us to get additional funding.
Okay, Councilmember Hancock, do you have any questions for Liz and comments? And do you approve this bill?
Yes, I do, and thank you. I was at the Navigation campus yesterday, and I saw how they have a pet specific area, the dog walk area, and they have that external area. And when I asked if they provided any veterinary type services for people who are bringing their pets, especially if they've been on the street for a while, defleeing and whatever, those kind of things. And they were saying that they did not really have express services, express dollars set aside for that. So will this proposal that Crow is proposing, will that cover that?
It could cover it if we are successful in receiving grant funding from the program and if the bill passes.
Okay.
Mhm.
With that, I support that.
So Liz, I support it too. So there's really no, in the bill, and I haven't looked at the entire bill, but it doesn't have real specifics yet. It's just kind of pet services, correct? There's no
Yeah,
real
you can
specific,
provide
or
services
we're
like
gonna be able to use the money, if we got the grant or we got some of the funding, we would be able to use it according to what our situation is in the city, or we just don't know that yet.
we
There's
don't know what
unknowns.
the grant applications and those requirements would look
Okay.
like because it has to get passed from this bill first.
Okay, but there was no specifics that I saw in the bill. Am I right? Okay, okay.
Right.
Oh, I
It
think
seemed kind of vague. The whole
Okay,
language
yeah.
seemed kind of vague. So could we possibly craft it for our own use?
Yeah,
I don't think that would be likely. I think that the Secretary of Ag, in conjunction with HUD, will determine what the grant applications and specification requirements look like. So we would have to apply for the grant. I don't think we would be able to use the craft whatever we want or have the money do whatever we want. We have to be in line with the grant application
Well, I
requirements.
mean, I'm sorry I wasn't clear. I'm thinking in terms of, like I said, veterinary services, those kind of things that would specifically deal with the health and welfare of pets. That's really what I meant. So because right now I don't think we have that kind of service available for pets, out at the campus right now. But
So
thank you.
it could help fund those services, yes.
okay. And I see Mayor Kaufman on. Mayor, do you have a question? Welcome to the Pfizer Committee.
Well, thank you, Madam Chair. Well, unfortunately, given the partisan nature of Congress, this bill is dead on arrival. However, I think it's important for us to show support for Congressman Crow on something that really aligns with what we're doing, and so we should support the bill.
Yeah, I agree. And we have supported it, Mayor. So,
Good.
okay. Thank you, Liz. Do you have another one on the federal?
Yes.
Or was that?
Yes.
Okay, go ahead.
I have one more. So it's Senate Bill 725, Enhancing First Response Act. This bill was brought from Tina, our 911 director. She would like us to consider taking a support position. This also has been routed by fire and police, and they agree with that. The bill essentially does two things. It directs the FCC to issue reports after disaster information reporting, which is fine. What we really want to support out of this bill is it would recategorize public safety telecommunicators as a protective service occupation. As our 911 team plays critical role in emergency response, they believe that this is the correct classification for them to receive. And then I have Tina on this meeting if there are any specific questions about this bill.
Okay. Councilmember Hancock, do you have any questions and do you support the bill?
I'm noticing that thank you, Chair. I'm noticing that this does have bipartisan support. Mayor Kaufman, since you know the ins and outs, is this dead on arrival or does it have a chance at life?
I would have to see who the sponsors are.
It looks like it has bipartisan support from what I'm seeing
but that's
here.
a big help. But It depends on, who they are. Who's the lead sponsor on the bill?
Klobuchar, Cantwell on the Dem side, Blackburn and Budd on the Republican
Oh,
side.
that's pretty powerful. That's pretty powerful. Even though it has a dim lead, that's to have, those two senators on it is pretty significant.
Okay, Liz?
Yeah, just to know, this bill has passed the Senate and is at the House now, so
Yeah.
it is
Oh.
moving.
Okay. And I like the idea because first responders, they're like, I equate them to nurses in the Vietnam War. How much closer to the war do you need to be in the war? I think that, what first responders do to help our police and fire do their work, I think is critical and they should be recognized as such.
So I support the bill as well, so we'll move that forward. And I think
I
that's
have-
it for our federal, right? Okay,
That's correct.
So,
Thank you so much.
thank you so much, Liz. We'll be seeing you again. So let's go to our state legislative update. It looks like we have Peggy, Cammie, Peggy on.
Peggy's not
Peggy is-
on, she's traveling, so
Okay.
you get Totsie and me today.
Okay, let's go ahead.
Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and kick it off. The legislature had special session in August that lasted 6 days and addressed a nearly $800 million budget shortfall. Legislation was passed on issues including AI, healthcare funding, and food assistance. The deficit that the state faced was primarily caused by the new federal tax law that went into effect in July. Bills that passed at the state level included a federal tax code decoupling, targeted tax changes, use of reserves, and spending authority. There were also bills that passed that included Planned Parenthood funding, health insurance subsidies, and wolf reintroduction funds. So that's kind of what happened in a nutshell. I'm happy to provide additional information if the committee would like it. But that's where we stand.
Okay. If
I
there are
have no questions, Chair. I have no questions, Chair. Sounds good.
It was a
Councilmember
busy 6
Lawson,
days.
you're muted. Councilmember Lawson, you're muted.
Councilmember Lawson, you're muted.
Everybody's talking at once, so right now we're working on the special session. Mayor, do you have any questions about the special session and the report that Cammie has provided?
No, I don't, Madam Chair.
Okay, thank you. Okay, now, Totsie, go ahead.
Hey, good morning. Thanks for the time this morning. The interim committees that have been meeting this summer are kind of wrapping up right now, but I'd like to remind everybody that when the session was going on, regular session, the executive committee of the Legislative Council sponsored a bill to suspend some interim committees in order to save money. And that by eliminating a number of interim committees, the bill projected to save $300,000 in the first year by eliminating travel, drafted legislation, and meetings. Excuse me. So with that, TLRC met this week. That's the Transportation Legislative Review Committee. And they were able to introduce 5 bills for drafting, but then when the bills are voted on, only 3 can move forward in an effort to save money. One of the bill drafts by Representative Richardson is to allow gifts, grants, and donations with local governments to establish new scenic byways. Then he said he wants to celebrate the state. And the commission has not been awarding any grants or has not been allowing any grants because the federal dollars stopped in 2012. The committee voted to draft that bill. Representative Bazenecker and Senator Pelton are asked for permission for a bill to implement e-titling solutions for Colorado. A company named V2 made a presentation on what they're doing around the nation to implement the e-titling of vehicles. And they've been working with the Department of Revenue and the Division of Motor Vehicles to kind of get this thing up and running. So they are running a bill from that with the committee's blessing, should it pass. Senator Mullica and Pelton and Representative Valdez have asked for a bill to be drafted addressing the scrappage replacement program. This is a program which would take used vehicles, big trucks, to and just scrap them. And they are asking for help from the Clean Fleet Enterprise. It would not be a mandate. No one would be forced to get rid of their trucks. But as new vehicles are coming on with the new battery vehicles are coming on, the truckers had asked for a way to, way to help folks replace their vehicles with newer vehicles. Senator Heinrichson asked that the state safety oversight grant spending cap be increased. This is the state safety oversight grant program deals with railroad safety, and it's run and operated in the PUC. The program itself is mandated by the Federal Transit Administration, and he wants to raise the cap to 400,000. And the fifth bill that they will be drafting is coming from CDOT. Representative Bazanicker and Senator Winter asked that the CDOT's technical fixes that they discussed during the TLRC be addressed. And that's all that I've got for right now. Happy to try to answer any questions.
Okay, Councilmember Hancock, I'll let you go first. Do you have any questions? I know that you gave a report to me and Liz as well, and I really do appreciate you giving an update on some things as well. So do you have any questions or comments?
I do not at this time. Thank you so much.
Okay. Thank you, Totsi. I don't either. Thank you
You
for
betcha.
really looking at those committees. I mean, the transportation one is really important. Don't we have the water one too, though? Is there a water one?
Yes, we were going to let
Okay.
the water department give that report if they'd like, but we're ready to do it. Cami
Oh,
has
no,
that
no,
teed up. Okay.
since Kathy is on here, I just wanted to make sure, because I know that there was a water interim committee as well. Okay, thank you so much, Tatsi. I appreciate that. Anything else, anything going on that you guys know of that's coming up possibly in 2026? Not legislation, but any kind of rumorville, some topic?
We just know that it's going to be a really tough year next year with everybody fighting. I think that the special session was terrible. Nobody got
Okay.
along, and
Oh, wow.
I see that happening more
Okay.
next year. Number of
Okay.
us are
That
fearful.
was a loaded question.
Well, I'm just giving it real because, I've been doing this for a while too, so.
Right.
Wanted to
And Chair,
know. Yes,
Chair,
go ahead, Mayor Hancock.
just thinking about in light of, Rogues Puglisi's resignation and some of the other things that have been happening down under the dome, what do you feel like? Well, it sounds like the energy is really toxic, but how do you feel the movement? Will we have forward momentum? Or are we going to still have the same kind of, I can't even put a good adjective on it to explain how as an external person, how I feel about what's going on down there. It just seems like it's a dumpster fire. What do you think?
I would agree with that. And I think that moving forward, it depends on who the Republicans elect as the minority leader in the House. It depends, there are three names that are floating right now. And one is Anthony Hartsook, one is Representative DeGraff, and the third one, oh dang, Cami, can you remember who the third one is? maybe Barone, but he was just
Barone.
elected to the, as assistant. Wait, what? He's caucus. I can't remember any of these titles right now, but I think it really depends on how the Republicans react to Rose's departure. See who wins that election.
And who can really rally, the caucus together, trying to get them back on track, back on the same page, supportive, and there obviously needs to be efforts to work across the aisle. And frankly, those efforts within the last few years have not been great. So I think, I agree with Tatsi, time will tell, and leadership selections will be vital to that.
I think also that the majority party has some issues too. They have to get along as well.
Mhm.
It's really fractious there.
Yeah. I've
And
heard there's been a lot of infighting and personality conflicts and those kind of things going on down there. Also, I think with the GOP in the state that it's in right now, statewide, and the demoralization of the Republicans that are down there because everything they pass goes up in flames. You kind of get tired after a while, and it really it's demoralizing. Why are you doing all this work when you bring it to committees and it dies before it even gets out of committee? So it's just, I think for the sake of our state, we've got to figure out a way that I think any idea, as long as it's a good one, should have merit and should have at least the opportunity to see the light of day. And what I'm seeing right now is it doesn't matter what the idea is. If it's coming from someone else on the other side, then it's not going to see the light of day. And I think that hurts us. And we have to remember that we're here to serve our constituents, not our own personal agendas. And I know I'm a little preachy on that, but I just feel like this is so painful to watch. And the results of that are being impacted and being felt across our state, and we're not better for it. And that's the issue. I hope they figure out a way to get along. It's just really sad right now.
And I think Councilmember Hancock said it all, and I wish it was back in the, people need to, I wish we, they would remember the actual people who they're representing. And, it's just kind of sad that it's getting like that. Because I don't like somebody, I'm not going to pass something, even though it's a good idea. And they got to look at the people that they represent. And I think that's just been forgotten. So it's very unfortunate. But we did it last year. We went through a tough session. I think we'll move. We'll have some movement. We'll have some movement. I'm gonna be positive about that. So.
I like
All
it.
right. Thank you, Cammie. Thank you. I really appreciate you guys.
thank you.
We actually have a CDPHE letter of support. I'm going to have Liz talk a little bit about that, and then we will decide if we're going to support it or not. Go ahead, Liz.
Thank you so much, Councilmember. So staff is coming to the committee. We would like to sign a letter of support for the closed landfill remediation grant program. This was a program that was authorized back in 2023 with House Bill 231194. It provides assistance to local governments that own and are required to remediate and close landfills. Over the past years of the program, the city initially received 7.9 million, and then an additional 3.5 million was approved in cycle 3, so 26-27. The reason why we're bringing this to the committee for support is because with all of the discussion in the legislature on the budget, we are concerned that this program might be cut or closed. So we would like to send a letter of our support with that. And it's important to note that the letter could be used in advocacy efforts moving forward. So we want to make sure that the council approves of us sending this letter. And then I also have Jeffrey Moore to answer any additional questions on the program and then the work that the city is doing.
Okay, Jeffrey, do you want to make some comments or give some input?
Thank you, Chair. I would be glad to.
Okay.
So the city owns a landfill, closed landfill, the Highway 30 landfill. It's sort of sandwiched in between E470 and Colorado Highway 30 in Ward 2. It was operated in the early 70s. It was closed in 1975. We have been under orders from the state CDPHE to do some remediation. There's some contamination coming from those waste trenches that were in place. They were unlined, which is typical at that period of time. So we've been under orders from the state to do some remediation of that contamination. We did receive a grant fund last year. We're operating under that grant now, as Liz mentioned, which we're very appreciative of. And we did receive an additional grant for $3.5 million just last week, which will start for next year. So we have those funds, but if we have to continue with the remediation, we will likely need more funds than that. We certainly want to prioritize grant funds and before city funds are spent. That's our priority. And the original allocation from the legislature for this program was $15 million. Of that $15 million, Aurora received $11.4 million. So we're very thankful for those funds. CDPHE is going back to the legislature to request refunding for the program beginning next year. And like we said, this letter would be, they requested letters of support from grantees, and it would be put in a package from CDPHE to the legislature to request additional funding.
Okay. Councilmember Hancock, do you have any questions? And again, just want to reiterate, do you support the letter moving forward to CDPHE?
I do support this letter, and Jeffrey, you went over this for us before, and so I'm familiar with this, and I am in support. Thank you.
Yes, thank you too. I support it as well, Jeffrey. So thank you for providing the additional information as well. So, okay.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. So we're going to go to our water update, and we have Kathy. And Kathy, you have a letter or the bill that you want us, this is a bill, right? Okay, reauthorization.
It's going to be a bill, so I don't have a bill number yet.
Okay.
Representative Carbajal from California is intending on doing legislation to reauthorize the midsize and large. Make sure I get this right. Midsize. Goodness, I've got too many notes open. I was just researching something. Sorry, I apologize. The midsize and large drinking water system infrastructure resilience and sustainability program. And so they've got a grant opportunity open right now that we intend on applying for. It's $9.5 million this last NOFO for both mid and large size drinking water systems. It is very competitive. So for that $9.5 million, they only intend to allow 6 applications, or not 6 applications, 6 awards. And so that's about $1.5 million a piece. And so if it could be reauthorized, there'd be future opportunities for Aurora for this grant funding, as well as just helping the drinking water industry in total. So if you're helping one drinking water provider with cybersecurity, you're generally helping others as well. So we'd really like to support the reauthorization of this EPA program.
Okay. Councilmember Hancock, do you have any questions, and do you support the letter moving forward?
Yes, I do support this program moving forward. Thank you, Kathleen.
And I support it as well. Kathy, do you want to give any updates on the water committee, interim committees, anything that may be coming out of that?
That's what I was quickly researching and pulling forward. So sorry about that little distraction there.
I didn't mean to put you on the spot, but
no,
you got
that's
put you
all
on
right.
the spot.
You did not.
Okay.
The Water Resources and Agricultural Review Committee, they're going to meet one more time before session starts in January. So they'll be meeting on October 29th to vote on the bills that come out of that committee. I'll have to say that it's a pretty boring interim as far as water goes. And so the bills that they may be drafting to vote on, they're all agricultural. So it used to be the Interim Water Resources Review Committee, where they solely just focused on water. And a couple of years ago, they expanded that to be the Water Resources and Agricultural Review Committee, and it goes year round now. But the bills that have been requested to be drafting are all agricultural. So it's ranch land taxation, it's around the Colorado Farmers Market Association, it's protecting from counterfeit fruits and veggies, and protecting Colorado egg lands from excessive green energy projects. So for those bills, Aurora Water will likely not take any position since it's not directly impacting or affecting water rights. So I'll have a better report after October 29th for what does make it through the committee itself.
Okay. Okay. Councilmember Hancock, do you have any questions for Kathy on the report? Is mostly on agricultural, but do you have anything that you would like for her to discuss or talk about?
That is just so interesting that they pulled all these other things in there, counterfeit fruits and veggies and Green New Deal stuff. I'm like, okay, we don't have anything else to do. Let's just pull a bunch of other just random stuff in here because, water is not enough as much as we depend on our water supply. So I just find these things just the kind of crackers just a little bit, but thank you for all the work that you do. And I look forward to, hearing your report once you wade through all the minutia of that stuff. Thank
And
you.
I'm not even on the committee, but I can think of things just off the top of my head that they could talk about that we need for our state, especially with the growth and
Right.
it's just amazing to me.
If they could just focus on getting the Wild Horse Reservoir, done. Can we just focus on that, please? That would be great.
Will do. And then I do have one just other informational item for you.
Go ahead.
Just a couple years ago, we did the RFP for the Aurora Water State Lobbying Services, and we selected Colorado advocates for that. That RFP did anticipate an initial 1-year term and 4 1-year extensions. And so you might see in the worksheet coming to City Council the request for the next year for Colorado advocates. So that you might see. So another year, it'll be the 3rd year in 5 for Colorado advocates representing or helping with Aurora Water State Lobbying Services.
I just have a question. And maybe Totsi knows this. Peggy, did you, not Totsi, remember Peggy? She used to do the water stuff. Is she still around? Remember she used to do the water for City of Aurora? She was a lobbyist from a long time ago. She do water. Did she do water for Aurora? I wasn't sure. You don't have to answer it, but I was just thinking
Yeah,
about her. Was she
I
with
just
Colorado
don't know the
Advocates?
answer to that.
Okay. Sorry, I just thought I'm sorry to bring that up. Working in my past life, I was just remembering some of the lobbyists. So, and there was one, she was like there for a long, long time and she knew water. Like,
I believe that Margie Christensen
yeah,
had that
Margie,
contract.
that's who I was
And she
talking about. Yeah.
retired.
Oh, she retired. Okay, Margie.
Yeah, a
that's
long
her.
time ago.
Okay. I'm
Yep.
sorry, Councilmember Hancock. I didn't mean to go off key.
No, that's quite all right. This lobbyist only does statewide lobbying efforts for us. Me being new to this committee, I'm just trying to wrap my arms around and understand what the role is.
For the RFP for Aurora Water State Lobbying Services, it's that contract is to represent Aurora Water with water issues in the state legislature. But they do have other clients as well.
Okay, just state legislator things. Okay.
Yeah.
Because I know with it, we have the water courts and they have their own separate life. And I'm wondering, would this lobbyist lobby on our behalf in other avenues as well? But you're saying it's just strictly state. Okay.
It's just strictly state and just strictly water. And so that scope of services was very narrow.
Okay. Thank you for that answer. I appreciate it.
And just to kind of give you just some background to Councilmember Hancock, we will be also reviewing the RFP for our federal and for our state lobbyists as well. We do those contracts as well. So the committee will be seeing that information coming up soon. Okay, so we don't have any bills, we don't have any federal bills, any miscellaneous matters for consideration for Councilmember Hancock, Mayor Kaufman, or anyone that is on the Zoom meeting today that you would like to bring up to the committee?
I have nothing at this time.
Okay, no one has nothing. Okay. All right. So our next meeting is going to be October 17th. Oh, I will bring up something miscellaneous, not miscellaneous, but Councilmember Hancock, at the next meeting, we will have some recommendations regarding how we get information out. Remember, we had that discussion.
Oh, yes.
Where there were some gaps in the information, how we're getting information, how we're getting other departments to make sure that the Pfizer committee is able to evaluate things, based on that discussion that we had at the last meeting. So
I remember.
Liz and I are working on some recommendations, and we'll bring those forth to the committee for discussions as well on the October meeting. So,
Fantastic.
Mayor, did you have any comments before we get off?
No, great meeting. Thanks, everybody.
Okay, thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Councilmember Hancock. Our next meeting is going to be October 17th at 11 a.m. So again, if there's anything that you need to talk about, you can come to me or Liz, and then we'll work through it. So
Fantastic.
give you guys back your Friday, and you have a very nice weekend. I will see you.
You too.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Bye,
Thank you for all you do.